This is Part 2, Episode 71. Somewhere in the void, the old man on top of the Chilean also heard the sword him as a group of swords closed in from behind him. The old man struggled. All these swords were celestial swords. If he were to take them and give one to each of his disciples, then it would make his Lu sword sect the number 1 sect on Tianyun. This would allow him to one-up that Tianyunzi. After struggling for a long time, he let out a sigh. He decided not to block the celestial swords and moved out of the way. These celestial swords were flying due to their worship of the sword spirit. If he were to stop them, he would likely be attacked by other celestial swords nearby. Although he was powerful enough to survive an attack from all these swords, he would be forced to flee back to planet Tianyun if they all decided to pile on him. As a result, he would completely lose the chance to obtain the Rain Celestial Sword. After the celestial swords passed, the old man quickly followed behind them. Normally, the void was very dangerous, but with the waves of swords flying through the void, all of the creatures avoided them. As a result, the void suddenly became very safe. Unless one was very unlucky, then as long as they followed the celestial swords, the chances of meeting danger were not high. Thus, a large number of cultivators that were originally cautious, when they followed the swords into the void, began to relax and follow much more closely behind them. Aside from the strange creatures that lived there was another danger: finding one's way. However, with the swords leading the way, there was no need, as one only had to follow the swords. However, the celestial sword's speed was very fast, so not everyone could follow. As a result, the cultivators in the void were spread out based on their abilities. Some of the cultivators were knowledgeable enough. When they first saw the celestial swords, they got greedy and attempted to take 1 or 2. None of them lived to tell the tale. However, even though people had died, there were still people who didn't believe it and tried to take the swords by force. Right now there were 8 cultivators spread out in the void, each one of them activating their own technique. In the distance, they could see a group of celestial swords flying toward them. Among these cultivators there were a few with some powerful techniques. However, when the celestial swords arrived, there were 5 bangs and 5 of them were instantly killed by swords piercing their hearts. The remaining cultivators were able to restrain 3 of the celestial swords that fell behind. Those people's foreheads were covered in cold sweat, as the 3 trapped celestial swords that released powerful sword energy and struggled like crazy. An old man, whose face was pale, said, "Hold steady. According to my calculations, as long as we can hold them here long enough, they will be ours." The others were all secretly complaining in their hearts, but they both revealed excited expressions. Just at this moment, another group of celestial swords flew by. Because they weren't close to them, the 3 cultivators only took a look and no longer paid any attention to them. However, those 3 celestial swords released powerful sword hymns. The group of celestial swords that were passing by suddenly stopped, turned around, and headed toward them. Their expressions suddenly changed and the old man suddenly abandoned trying to restrain the sword anymore and ran. The already unstable restriction suddenly collapsed. As the swords passed by, flesh and blood flew everywhere. Shortly after the swords left, those remaining cultivators, even the old man who tried escaped early, all died. A dim light flashed by. The 2 bags of holding that weren't destroyed by the swords disappeared. In the distance, the dim light turned into the star compass with Kai-Hu holding 2 bags of holding. He set them to the side and said, "Brother Seng, this is our 37th bag. Our harvest along the way is pretty good." Wang Lin smiled. Along the way, the 2 of them saw many people try to stop the swords, but none of them succeeded. Some of the bags were destroyed by the swords, but those that remained intact landed in their hands. The speed of their star compass was very quick, and they had no problems with keeping up with the celestial swords. After Wang Lin noticed the abnormality, he wasn't willing to let it go. Using their speed, they were able to stay ahead and scavenge some treasures along the way, which made Kai-Hu very excited. Wang Lin controlled the compass while Kai-Hu grabbed bags of holding. It could be said that their teamwork was very fluid. In addition to this, some cultivators recognized the star compass under them and attempted to steal it from them. Everyone that tried to steal their star compass died by the hands of Wang Lin and Kai-Hu. They turned back into a dim light, as they quickly caught up to the group of celestial swords before them and followed them from a distance. Just at this moment, there was a gloomy-faced middle-aged man standing on top of a disc while chasing after the celestial swords. He followed as closely as he could, not wanting to lose sight of them. Suddenly, he saw Wang Lin and Kai-Hu in the distance and noticed the star compass beneath them. His eyes immediately lit up. After he took a step, the disc disappeared as he jumped toward Wang Lin and Kai Hu. Fellow cultivators, do you have room for me? Although he spoke courteously, his step was very aggressive. Kai Hu's eyes lit up and he whispered, late-stage soul formation. Wang Lin remained calm and said, Brother Kai, who can decide if we should run or fight? Wang Lin wasn't using the compass's full speed. If he were to go at full speed, he could easily shake off a late-stage soul formation cultivator. Kai Hu let out laugh, stood up, cracked his knuckles, and said, Brother Seng dared to fight Red Butterfly, who's at the early stage of soul formation. I, Kai Hu, at the mid-stage of soul formation, also want to fight a late-stage soul formation cultivator. After I finish fighting, we can run. He stepped off the compass and shouted, If you want to ride the compass, then let me see your strength. The middle-aged man's face was still gloomy as he revealed a hint of disdain. Not only did he not stop, but he moved even faster and said, So it is someone from the giant demon clan. Scram. With that, he casually pointed with his finger. A grey gas turned into a sword that charged toward Kai Hu. The moment the grey gas appeared, killing intent filled the air. Killing domain. With one look, Wang Lin was able to recognize what domain the man was using. Wang Lin hadn't seen killing intent as powerful as his original bodies. Killing domain. Kai Hu let out roar as he made a fist and hit his chest. A sudden surge of pride began to emit from Kai Hu as his body began to crackle. His body suddenly expanded several times into a giant dozens of feet tall. The axe on his forehead was flashing rapidly. This axe was a very important treasure of his clan. It was very different from the star compass, which didn't have many uses. This was not a solid object, so even though it was shattered when Juyi used it to battle against Red Butterfly, it could be reformed again. However, every time it shattered, it would weaken a bit. When the axe appeared, Kai Hu grabbed like a demon god and chopped down on the grey gas. Bang! The grey gas collapsed and the axe in Kai Hu's hand trembled, so he backed up a few steps. The amount of power put into that chop made the vein on his arm bulge out. He laughed and said, That was fun. Again. The middle-aged man stopped. He sneered as he slapped his bag of holding and a golden rock flew out. He pointed at the golden rock and it suddenly turned into a liquid. He squeezed his hand, causing it to turn into a diamond shape, before he threw it out and shouted, Try touching this. The moment he saw the golden stone, his heart turned cold. All sorts of urges to kill messed with his mind, causing his heart to become startled. Wang Lin's eyes locked onto the golden rock and he said, Kai Hu, let's go. Kai Hu laughed. Without a word, he turned and walked onto the compass as he said, I can't beat you, so I'm not going to play anymore. The middle-aged man sneered as he pointed again, causing the diamond-shaped golden rock to fly even faster toward the star compass. Wang Lin controlled the star compass to quickly fly into the distance. Although that golden rock was fast, it was not faster than the compass. The middle-aged man's expression suddenly changed as he quickly caught the golden rock and chased after them. After a long time, the middle-aged man's eyes lit up. He stopped and stared at where the star compass disappeared and he snorted. Master calculated that the Rain Celestial Sword would awaken, and that the Da Lu Sword sect would try to take it. He told me to stop them to prevent the balance of power on Qianyun from breaking. Too bad. I really want to play with those two juniors. HMPH, although the Da Lu Sword sect is the same rank as my Qianyun sect, as long as Master moves, there is no need worry about them. This person coldly looked into the distance and then left. The junior sitting in the middle of the compass seemed to recognize the metal. It seems he is somewhat knowledgeable. Kai Hu sat in the lotus position on the compass and asked, Brother Seng, what was that diamond-shaped golden rock? Why did you not want me to fight? Although that person was at the late stage of soul formation, my giant demon clan is special. Although I can't beat him, I'm not scared either. As Wang Lin controlled the star compass, he said, when one person kills too much, it will turn a murderous aura into killing intent. Then, when you kill even more, it will condense into a liquid. And then, when it gets even thicker, it will turn into a crystal. That is the killing intent blood crystal. Unless you also cultivate the killing domain, it will damage your origin soul the moment you touch it. Kai Hu began to ponder. He recalled his own emotions when he saw the rock appear and nodded. Wang Lin secretly thought, that middle-aged man's cultivation is a bit stronger than Red Butterfly's, especially his killing domain. Even Red Butterfly would have to spend quite the effort to block it. I just don't know if my original body would be able to take an attack from it. I wonder how much more spiritual energy my original body needs in order to go through the third transformation. After I return to Suzaku, I wonder if the original body's cultivation will increase with these celestial jades. The star compass was very fast. It circled around and followed the celestial swords again. In the distance, a celestial realm fragment came into view. They saw an endless amount of sword energy shining on the fragment. This light made everyone feel like they were being stabbed before they even got close. Countless celestial swords arrived. This was where the rain celestial sword spirit was. The celestial swords sped by an array of light. Wang Lin closely followed the swords through the void and in the blink of an eye entered the celestial fragment. It's him. The first thing Wang Lin saw was a white-robed woman with long hair flowing in the air. Before her were two golden dragons. Kai Hu also noticed the white-robed woman. He was shocked and silently pondered. After arriving here, Wang Lin put away the compass. He revealed a shocked expression, as he began to silently ponder as well. Those two golden dragons roared like crazy, and all of the celestial swords that came from all over the celestial realm charged toward them. Gradually, as more and more celestial swords arrived, they intertwined together and formed another golden dragon. The three golden dragons circled around the white-robed woman. Her cold gaze would occasionally sweep the surrounding area. There were still waves of celestial swords flying toward here. It didn't take much time. As waves of celestial swords arrived, more than 100 others had gathered in this fragment. These were the fast ones that had managed to follow the celestial swords. As the celestial swords endlessly arrived, so did more and more cultivators. Almost all of them revealed hints of greed as they stared at the golden dragons around the white-robed woman. Anyone who could enter the celestial realm was an elite of their respective cultivation planet. While they all were greedy, they all managed to control themselves. They were waiting to see who would be the first one to act. Ting, please stop. There are already 3 rain celestial swords. That is enough, a soft voice in the forehead of one of the golden dragons said. The white-robed woman calmly said, it's not enough. Just wait a bit, and the 4th rain celestial sword will take form. Just as she finished speaking, the celestial swords began to take the shape of the 4th dragon. As more and more celestial swords arrived, the speed at which it was forming increased. Just at this moment, a powerful roar suddenly came from the east. This roar was filled with provocation. All 3 golden dragons turned their gazes toward the east. A giant ball of fire flew in from that direction. The heat wave already arrived before the fireball got close. Some of the nearby cultivators' expressions changed greatly. They quickly backed up and made a path for it. Just as they got out of the way, the ball of fire charged through the void and exploded in the sky above the fragment. The ball of fire scattered into countless smaller meteors that shot out in all directions. In the middle of the ball of fire was a Chileen surrounded by green flames. It blew 2 white streams of steam out of its nose as it stared at the 3 golden dragons. This is Celestial Chileen, the Da Lu Sword Sect's guardian beast. This beast belongs to Sword Saint Ling Qianhu. That old master is here. What kind of treasure could make Senior Lin Qianhu come personally? A few of the more knowledgeable cultivators were shocked. They began to guess why Lin Qianhu was here. A few of the cultivators with weaker wills backed up and exclaimed out loud. Wang Lin calmly looked toward the large celestial Chileen. On its very large head sat one person. This person was wearing a green robe, and his white hair moved without any wind. Although he looked skinny, the aura he gave off was very oppressive. This was especially true for the 4 illusionary swords behind his back. Every time they flashed, Wang Lin would feel a bang on his chest. Bang. After 2 bangs, Wang Lin's face became pale and a stream of blood came out from the corner of his mouth, causing him to withdraw his gaze. Kai Hu coughed out a mouthful of blood with a terrifying expression on his face. No, just the 2 of them, but many people had blood streaming from the corners of their mouths. Their faces were filled with shock and terror. A few people, the ones who recognized the Chileen, quickly lowered their heads and sneered in their hearts. HMPH, the Da Lu Sword Sect's Sword Saint is not someone we can compete with. That person's cultivation level is higher than the heavens, and those 4 swords are his life treasures that he created from his cultivation. They never disappear, and can be turned into thousands of swords. If your cultivation level isn't high enough, then just taking a look at them will injure you. If you try to force yourself to look at them, you may even die. Wang Lin took a deep breath as he slapped his bag of holding and took out the restriction flag. The flag turned into black fog and quickly surrounded him. He ate some pills and began to cultivate, which allowed a sliver of red to return to his face. After that, Chileen appeared. It snorted 2 hot streams of air before charging forward. At this moment, the old man sitting on the Chileen opened his eyes. He stared at the white-robed woman with a serious expression on his face. The old man's face was gloomy as he slowly asked, "Are you a celestial?" The moment those words came out, all of the surrounding cultivators panicked, but then all of them quickly became silent as they looked toward the white-robed woman. The white-robed woman calmly looked at the old man and said, "Stand down." The old man's eyes lit up. He was filled with anger. As the number 1 or 2 person on planet Tianyun, it had been a long time since someone dared to talk to him like this. "Ha ha, the celestial realm is already broken. If you really are a surviving celestial, then this old man wants to try killing a celestial." The moment the old man said those words, the Chileen under him roared. The white-robed woman remained calm. Her eyes were filled with melancholy as she looked at the Chileen rather than the old man and said, "You evil creature, even your ancestors back then didn't dare to act like this before me. Could you have even lost your inherited memory after the celestial realm collapsed?" A hint of confusion appeared in the Chileen's eyes. The old man's face became sullen as black smoke appeared on his hand. He made the smoke go into the Chileen's head. The Chileen was terrified, causing the trace of confusion to disappear and be replaced by a vicious expression. The white-robed woman shook her head and said, "So it is a fake beast that never received an inheritance." With that, she raised her hand and pointed at the Chileen. The Chileen immediately retreated. The vicious expression on its face disappeared and revealed a hint of fear. The Chileen shook the old man off its head as it groveled on the ground, its entire body trembling. The old man floated in the air, his face very unsettled. "You remember? Forget it, the celestial realm is not here, so there is no point in me punishing you." The white-robed woman let out a sigh. She didn't put her hand away, but pointed at the old man. With one point, the heavens and earth shook. The old man's face immediately became pale as he quickly backed up. At the same time, he pointed multiple times, causing the 4 illusionary swords behind him to come forward and block for him. Bang! After 2 bangs, 2 of the swords immediately shattered. The old man's expression changed greatly as he turned around and disappeared. When he appeared again, he was already far away in the void. The 4th dragon next to the white-robed woman became more and more solid. It was nearly completed. She is not a normal celestial. The way she refers to herself, could she be a celestial king? The old man was terrified. With just 2 points, she was able to destroy 2 of his swords. Not even Tian Yunzi could do this. How could he not be shocked? Forget it, at the most I just won't get the celestial sword today. Something is not right. The old man suddenly stopped as he began to ponder and look at the fragment. If she really is a celestial king and I offended her, then according to celestial law, it is a crime that would destroy my origin soul. However, she didn't kill me. I understand now. It is not that she doesn't want to kill me, she wants to scare me away. The old man turned around without any hesitation and charged toward the fragment again. This time, the 2 remaining swords appeared in front of him. They turned from 2 to 4 and 4 to 8. In the blink of an eye, there were over 100 swords in front of him as he galloped forward. In an instant, he was back on the fragment. On the fragment, all of the cultivators fled in panic after seeing the sword saint be defeated by the white-robed woman with only 1 point of her finger. Everyone knew that they couldn't obtain the celestial swords, so they all secretly backed up, ready to leave this troublesome place. But at this moment, the old man came back. The white-robed woman remained calm. She turned and looked at the purple mass on the dragon's forehead. She let out a sigh as she stepped forward and faced the old man. "Celestial King, I want to see just how powerful a celestial is," the old man shouted as he charged toward her. The white-robed woman waved her hand. A series of loud bangs rang out like the heavens were splitting apart. Those more than 100 swords seemed to have slammed into an unbreakable metal wall and all shattered. That old man's expression changed greatly as he quickly retreated. His hand continued to make seals when backed up. Rays of defensive light screens appeared before him, but as soon as one appeared, it was shattered. The old man continued to back up. His forehead was covered in sweat and his hand moved even faster. Bang! It wasn't until the 300th light screen that it only shook instead of shattering. The old man's face was pale. There was no panic in his eyes, only excitement. Because he could clearly see that woman's body shake, a sliver of death aura appeared on his face. A celestial is only this much. He laughed as he clapped his hands together before his chest. When he brought them apart, lightning appeared between them. The lightning took the shape of a sword. Under the control of the old man, it flew toward the white-robed woman. The white-robed woman's expression remained calm, as she let out a sigh and waved her hand. However, this time, after she waved her hand, the death aura on her body increased greatly. A low voice came from the head of one of the golden dragons. Ting let me out of here. If you use up the celestial spiritual energy I have gathered in the past 2,000 years, you might have a chance to awaken again. The white-robed woman whispered, you can't come out before the fourth sword takes shape. She waved her hand and the lightning sword immediately collapsed. The old man backed up, and created only 200 swords this time. He charged toward her with even more excitement in his eyes than before. Right now, the last wave of swords arrived. A thunderous roar came out of the collection of swords and the fourth dragon took shape. The white-robed woman's eyes were calm as she moved her hand. The 4 golden dragons coiled around her. She pointed at one with her finger and it immediately collapsed, revealing a simple celestial sword. This point with her finger caused the death aura to spread to her face. The 2,000 years of celestial energy had almost all been used up. If it wasn't for the fact that she needed a large amount of celestial energy to transfer Juyi's soul, she could have killed that old man with one finger. Second Rain Celestial Sword, Sword Spirit, appear. The celestial sword released a golden light, then a golden orb came out of its blade. The death aura on the woman spread even more. She quickly grabbed the golden orb and threw it toward the dragon that had a purple mass on its forehead. After losing the golden orb, the celestial sword lost its sheen and fell from the sky. When the sword fell, all of the surrounding cultivators' eyes focused on it. The old man charged forward again. This time, he formed seals and 10 swords appeared before him. He let out a roar and quickly charged forward. Just at this moment, someone suddenly charged out from the crowd. This person was the middle-aged man that had fought with Wang Lin and Kai Hu. The moment he charged out, 3 blood-colored crystals appeared around him. Under his control, they charged toward the old man. The old man looked toward the person and waved his hand at him without a word. The middle-aged man shouted, killing intent blood crystal, explode. Bang. The blood crystals exploded with 3 loud bangs, and in the middle of the explosions a black vortex appeared. A giant hand poked out from the vortex and reached toward the old man. The old man's face changed when he saw the hand. He shouted, Qian Yunzi, if you keep me from taking the celestial sword, our 2 sects will have a bloodbath for 1,000 years when I get back. Right after saying that, he dodged to the side and quickly charged toward the white-robed woman. The hand quickly chased after him. A very ancient voice came from the vortex. Ling Qianhu, the celestial sword belongs to those who are fated to have it. If you can have it, then you are fated. Qian Yunzi. Wang Lin's body trembled. He stared at the vortex with a mysterious light in his eyes and silently pondered. The old man's face was gloomy. He moved as fast as lightning and in the blink of an eye appeared before the white-robed woman. He quickly reached out toward the simple celestial sword that was forming. However, just as he was about to grab hold of the sword, another person charged out of the crowd even faster than the last. He grabbed the celestial sword before the old man could and quickly escaped. Ha ha, Ling Qianhu, I, Qian Mozi, am not greedy. Of the 4 celestial swords, I'll only take one goodbye. This person was that middle-aged scholar. He arrived before the old man and hid inside the crowd. When he acted, he was able to steal the celestial sword in one move. Qian Mozi. You dare to steal from me? Just you wait, your planet, Qianmo, will be wiped out by my Da Lu sword sect. Ha ha, Ling Qian, it would be hard to avoid a fight between the 2 of us. I'm willing to accompany you at any time. That middle-aged scholar laughed at the old man's threat. He moved even faster when he reached the void. Suddenly, a black vortex appeared and he went into it. This vortex led to his planet. Such speed. He is even faster than my star compass. Wang Lin took a deep breath. All he could see were after images. The white-robed woman didn't even blink. She pointed at another golden dragon. The dragon let out a roar and turned into a curved sword. The old man's eyes lit up and he reached out for the sword, but Qian Yunzi's hand was even closer. The white-robed woman's eyes became cold as she pointed at the old man. The old man shouted and the clothes on his chest were ripped apart as a black fingerprint appeared on his chest. The old man coughed out blood, but his hand didn't slow down as it reached for the celestial sword. The death aura had reached its peak. Her eyes were filled with sadness as she whispered, "If you want this sword, you can have it, but the sword spirit is mine." The moment the old man grabbed the sword, a golden orb appeared and flew toward the woman. She threw it toward the forehead of a golden dragon. "This sword belongs to me." The old man laughed while enduring the pain on his chest. He held onto the sword and quickly backed up. The hand behind him suddenly stopped and dodged to the side. It was no longer chasing him. Instead, it grabbed hold of the middle-aged man, who fought with Wang Lin and Kai Hu, and pulled him back into the vortex. The man and the hand quickly disappeared. The moment he disappeared, Qian Yunzi's ancient voice appeared again. "Ling Qianhu, you receiving a celestial sword is the will of the heavens, so I won't stop you, but know your own limit." The old man laughed. His eyes landed on the white-robed woman, to whom he grimly said, "Your attack is a lot weaker than before. This celestial fingerprint wasn't even able to kill me. Seeing that you are a celestial, I won't kill you, but for the last two celestial swords, you can't take their sword spirits." After a celestial sword loses its sword spirit, although it's still an unstoppable sword, it won't have any of its spells anymore. It also requires a new spirit. The sadness in the white-robed woman's eyes increased. She let out a sigh while pointing at one of the gold dragons. The gold dragon collapsed, turning into a large sword that simply floated there. The old man let out a snort while his left hand reached toward the sword. The white-robed woman let out a sigh and pointed at her brow. The last of the celestial spiritual energy in her body was used to create a shield around her to force the old man away. The old man let out an angry roar and viciously waved the celestial sword in his hand at the shield. The shield trembled but didn't shatter. How could the old man be willing to let this happen? He wildly swung the celestial sword and even used spells on the shield. After using the last bit of celestial spiritual energy, the white-robed woman began to slowly close her eyes while the death aura surrounded her. "Ju Yi, I'm not the true soul of a celestial king. A celestial king doesn't have any emotions. I'm a broken soul that was somehow formed. I saw you protecting me for 2,000 years, and when you ignited your origin soul, I knew I was formed from your obsession. Thank you. If there is another life, I hope that I'm not a broken soul and that you will still be by my side." A sad cry came from the purple mass on the forehead of the last golden dragon. Ting-er. The white-robed woman's body began to fall. She struggled to point at the last sword. A golden orb floated out of the sword and fused with the last golden dragon. After finishing all of this, she let out a smile of happiness for the first time. It was very beautiful. Thank the heavens, thank the earth, thank fate for letting us meet. The celestial spell can't hide your thousands of years of obsession. Thousands of years of protection allowed this miracle to occur. Your obsession shook the heavens, your emotions shook the earth. For me, you gave up your life. For you, I'm also willing to give up my life. You and I will meet in our next life. When we meet again, don't forget. This life. No. A miserable roar came from the purple mass on the last golden dragon. A ray of purple sword energy charged out from the dragon and took the shape of Ju Yi. 4 golden orbs merged together on Ju Yi's forehead. When they completely merged, an illusionary sword appeared on his forehead, and his entire body started emitting a golden light. However, this golden light didn't give off a gentle feeling, but a deep sense of sadness. The moment Ju Yi charged out, the golden dragon collapsed, revealing a short sword that would be used by females. It floated beside the big sword. This large sword and small sword were like a couple. The white-robed woman closed her eyes and her body fell. With her death, the shield disappeared. Why? Why must you be like this? If I was supposed to die, then I would die. Why must you do all this for me? You die, I live, you live, I die. Could our fate always be like this? No. Ju Yi wanted to hug her, but when he touched her, his body became translucent and went right through her. The sorrow in his eyes could move the heavens. It could move the earth. The female corpse went through his body and fell down. With the shield gone, the two celestial swords seemed to follow some sort of attraction, and fell with the female corpse. Looking at the female corpse falling, the sorrow in his eyes became even stronger. Ting-er. I'm not Ting-er. However, the name Ting-er. I like it a lot. I'm only a broken soul born from your obsession. The old man unleashed an angry roar, as he charged toward the two celestial swords next to the female corpse. At the same time, his glance swept past Ju Yi with some dread in his eyes. Wang Lin looked at all of this from a distance. A hint of sorrow appeared in his heart. This video will end here.